Israel has committed unspeakable atrocities in Gaza. They have murdered thousands of children. Tens of thousands of dead civilians lie mangled in the streets. Millions have been displaced. Cities have been reduced to ruin. A people have been deprived of their future. A people have been terrorized and tormented. They call it war. A small terrorist organization equipped with rifles and simplistic rockets is fighting a modern military force equipped with nuclear missiles and state-of-the-art fighter jets. This is not war. It is mass slaughter, and mass slaughter is what we see. It is ethnic cleansing of a brutal form. High-ranking members of the Israeli government have repeatedly called for ethnic cleansing. Millions have been displaced. Israel has ordered that cities be evacuated. Brutal ethnic cleansing is what we see. This behaviour is entirely unacceptable. It is pure evil. Hamas is a depraved terrorist organisation, but this conduct will not defeat Hamas. These conditions of chaos and cruelty are the soil from which the weed that is terrorism grows. Hideous depravity has been normalised. People have been desensitized to shocking violence. This will not stop terrorism. This is the kind of thing that has always fueled terrorism. And Israel doesn't care, because defeating Hamas is not their goal. Brutal ethnic cleansing is their goal. The Israeli government is evil. They have detained Palestinians without good cause. Many of these detained Palestinians have been subjected to torture and rape. These practices are widespread and have been defended by members of the Israeli government. Israel has many defenders. Many of these defenders are not hardcore Zionists, but simply useful idiots. Many of these people are just idiots who are spiteful towards pro-Palestine protesters or associate the Palestinian cause with the political left. These mindless partisan hacks know nothing about the issue, but want to comment on it anyway. So they spend massive amounts of time mindlessly regurgitating pro-Israel talking points. Idiotic talking points intended to justify and excuse Israel's evil actions in Gaza. I am going to address some of these stupid talking points. Don't you know that most Palestinians support Hamas? This is what they will say. This is supposed to portray the slaughter of Palestinian civilians as legitimate. As if it is okay to kill children because they are statistically likely to have bad political opinions. Is it really that surprising that people who have been brutalized and terrorized by Israel for their entire lives have a fanatical hatred of Israel? Is that really so surprising to you? The average person would join Hamas without question if Israel butchered their family in front of them, and Israel has butchered many families. If a man watches his family be slaughtered, what do you expect him to do when Hamas hands him a rifle? Hamas is an evil organization, but we must understand that they did not come out of a void. They were born out of hideous political conditions. Most Israelis support the depraved conduct of the Israeli government. That does not make it acceptable to kill Israeli civilians. And the exact same thing applies to the Palestinian people. You do not get to slaughter civilians en masse simply because some statistics indicate that they have bad political views. That is a disgusting excuse for bloodthirsty behaviour. I do not care if most Palestinians support Hamas. That does not make it okay to slaughter civilians. And there are other arguments that these defenders of Israel cast forth. Ironic that some gay people support Palestine. Don't you know Palestine is homophobic? This is what they like to say. This is one of the most idiotic arguments of them all. It is my view that children who grow up within a homophobic society do not deserve to be slaughtered en masse on that basis. It is my view that it is not acceptable to kill children regardless of whether they are homophobic or not. If you cannot understand this, you are a bloodthirsty idiot. Palestine is homophobic, but that does not make it acceptable to kill masses of civilians. How depraved and barbaric do you have to be to apply this deranged reasoning? And yet there is more still. Why are you so obsessed with the atrocities occurring in Israel, but don't spend much time talking about the atrocities occurring in Sudan? The defenders of Israel's atrocities love to say this. The implication being that anyone who criticizes Israel but doesn't talk about Sudan is some kind of hypocrite. This argument is incredibly stupid. The difference between Israel's crimes and the crimes committed by various forces in Africa is quite significant. Israel is a close ally of the West and commits its crimes with high-tech weapons supplied by Western states. So obviously Israel will face greater criticism from Westerners, because it is Western states that are facilitating the crimes of Israel, because in many cases it is Western tax dollars that are supporting these crimes. It is Western states that gave Israel F-35, F-16, and F-15 fighter jets. It is Western states that give Israel bombs and missiles to be fired from these jets. It is Western states that make the crimes committed by Israel possible. That is why we are more outraged by Israel's atrocities than by atrocities committed by various forces in Africa. Evil forces in Africa are not being strongly supported by major Western states. Anyone who is not a mindless, disingenuous idiot can recognize this momentous difference. These disgusting idiots weaponize atrocities being committed in other parts of the world to downplay the plight of the Palestinians. They don't care about what is happening in Sudan. For them, dead people in Sudan are just an opportunity to downplay Israel's atrocities. It is truly reprehensible and disgusting. And then there are the accusations of anti-Semitism. If you criticize Israel, they will call you an anti-Semite. It is disingenuous and idiotic. There is nothing anti-Semitic about criticizing a bloodthirsty government that is killing thousands of civilians and conducting an ethnic cleansing. There is nothing anti-Semitic about pointing out the litany of human rights violations committed by the disgusting Israeli regime. That is not anti-Semitic. Calling this anti-Semitic downplays the evil of anti-Semitism. Calling this anti-Semitic makes a mockery of the term. Calling this anti-Semitic undermines the seriousness of the accusation. It is a disgusting misuse of the term. A shameless tactic that makes anti-Semitism look like a good thing. These mindless idiots make anti-Semitism look legitimate, because when you accuse those who criticize child murder of anti-Semitism, you make anti-Semitism look justified. There is nothing anti-Semitic about criticizing the disgusting depravity of Israel. The defenders of Israel like to say that Hamas is responsible for every dead Palestinian. To totally remove responsibility from Israel is immensely dangerous. This is the fuel of mass slaughter and genocide. Was Hamas responsible for Israel's rape and murder of Palestinian prisoners? What about the killings of thousands of children? Israel has agency, and they are responsible for their actions. When another country attacks you, you do not have the right to recklessly kill masses of civilians. You do not have the right to imprison civilians and rape prisoners. Israel has agency, and they are responsible for their depraved actions. Israel may hide from this, but it is the truth. Ironic that right-wingers who pretend to value personal responsibility are desperate to portray Israel as a state that lacks any responsibility for its actions. This is dangerous stuff. A terrorist attack does not give you the right to slaughter civilians and rape prisoners. That is not how morality works. That is how immorality works. And massive immorality is what we see. The defenders of Israel's crimes say many stupid things. These stupid talking points should be mocked and ridiculed. The people who employ these talking points will not be viewed favourably by history. They will be viewed as disgusting defenders of mass murder and ethnic cleansing, because that is what they are.